Hello, everyone, and welcome to the writers class. And today we have someone who's really gonna talk about writing, probably. I'm not quite sure yet. You know me, I don't prepare for these things, I show up. And y'all, my hair grew. That's what I'm gonna call it. All right, I think I'm done with me because I don't feel like being a narcissist today. It is 80, 80 degrees outside in the middle of January, excuse me. Which means that I'm not gonna talk about me. It's just too beautiful of a day to waste it on me. I'm double checking that. No, I think I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna go with that. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Anyways, I wrote books, y'all. Go figure. Silly, silly little me wrote books. There are, and I thought divorce was bad, and I thought being grown up was easy. If only I were me, a memoir in verse, Foreign Coffee, Widow's Web, and Widow's Debt. And if you're counting, that is 6 books. And if you know anything about us, you know we have more than 6 books. We have 18. So you can get the 6 books wherever you find audiobooks. So wherever you get your audiobooks, that's where they are. Actually, I suggest starting with Widow's Web because it's fun. Although Jade suggested, and I thought I did my journey alone, which is a reading book. And you can find those reading books that aren't already as audiobooks at www.andithoughladies.com. Can you tell the 80-degree day has me thinking about anything other than being right here? Because I'm like, what is my website again? Oh, right. There we go. I slowed right down after that third W. I was like, hold on, what is it? But you're not here to hear about me and how I slow down after the third W, or the fact that I'm probably about to cough again in a few minutes. I'm going to try to rush this so I can get to my guests. You're here to hear about our wonderful guest. Wonderful guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Lisa Towles, but I think your guest would like to hear about ice cream. Can you share anything about ice cream, Wilnona?
I love this. It's my show and I'm talking about ice cream. But y'all, today, since it's 80 degrees, I celebrated by having a real ice cream cone. Well, it wasn't a cone, it was a sundae with the Cool Whip and the caramel and the sprinkles and the cherry. Oh my God. It wasn't even gluten free. It wasn't dairy free. It wasn't sugar free because that's normally how I eat my ice cream. At
Good
this
for
age, if I
you.
want to stay tiny, that's how I gotta eat it. Otherwise, it's flavored ice. But it was awesome. I'm not talking about me. Lisa, you have tricked me.
I did. I tricked you, and that's what mystery writers and thriller writers do is we trick people. We set clues and we try to make the reader feel smart, and then we just kind of turn it on its side and make them realize, "Oh my God, what? This person did what?" That's our job. Our job is to lie and to put false clues and to trick people. And that's what I do. I'm a diehard mystery writer and reader, and I live in Northern California. I have 2 cats named Coffee and Marmalade, and I am secretly a lifelong musician.
Okay, so this is the writer's class, and I'm gonna start with what instrument? Because that's so much to do with writing.
Um, I'm a musician who was born from a family of musicians and music teachers, and flute is my main instrument. So I'm a lifelong flutist. I graduated from music school. I was a jazz flutist for a long time. I also play piano. And I think that ties in with music because of that early liberal arts training. I have an MBA in IT management, and MBAs have a lot of math, a lot of economics, a lot of finance, like a little bit more left-brained, and the liberal arts is more right-brained. And so I think my liberal arts background and foundation really helped me with creativity. I mean, not just to write books and imagine new stories, but creativity is also used for problem solving, for interpersonal connections. And so I think they all kind of work together.
I agree wholeheartedly. I'm gonna talk about me again, y'all. So I do have a business degree. And then I was in IT, but I never finished the degree. But I was like a semester away, and computer science with was more of a focus on computer programming. But man, the amount of creativity you can have while programming is awesome, but you need a ton of math to do it. So I think that person kind of makes just phenomenal mystery writer because you're using both sides of the brain. Now,
Right.
this is my thoughts. I'm going to ask the actual mystery writer here because I write suspense thrillers. What do you think? How do you see your right and left brain in your writing?
Well, I think, so there are two things that I want to talk about. You have kind of like the writing and the create energy. And then you have all the crap that comes with the business of writing, the stuff no one wants to think about, no one wants to talk about. We just want to like write stories. We don't want to think about that. They each of those paths take kind of like um that left brain and right brain capabilities. And I think there's an art and a science to being a writer and a published author, building a relationship with an audience, building a relationship with readers, reaching out to readers to find out what they want to read, what types of books they want, and reaching out to individual readers to find out what they want from you. I mean, I think that it takes time and it takes a real commitment to want to take the time to understand why a reader keeps coming back to you over and over and over, book after book. Sometimes people just, say, oh, that's a pretty cover. Let me look at the back. Oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah, I'm going to invest time in reading that. That's kind of a one-time reader. But then you have other readers that are kind of diehard fans that keep coming back to your writing one after the other. And you need to reach out to them to find out what is it about your storytelling style that keeps them coming back. Maybe you write a series and maybe they like that character and that whole mythology, and that's why they keep coming back. Or maybe they just like you and your vibe and where you're coming from, and they want to stay connected to you. I'm also a diehard mystery reader, and I do that. I mean, I like reading series, but I also like connecting with an author whose overall vision I can connect with.
Okay, so since you're a diehard reader, the next question is, who do you read?
I read so many types of mystery thrillers. I like spy thrillers, I like cozy mysteries, I like amateur sleuth mysteries. There are just so many. Right now I'm rereading The Fourth Wing, and I'm also reading another Nelson DeMille and a John le Carre, and there are just so many. I'm one of those readers that reads like 4 or 5 books at a time. Some of them are paperbacks over there in that stack, and some of them are on my I don't use a Kindle anymore, but I have the Kindle app on my iPhone, so I can sit in bed and read and just put the light low so I don't wake up my husband, and I can just read for like hours and hours under the covers, and he'll never know that I'm not getting any sleep. So yeah, I kind of read all types of mystery thrillers. I also like nonfiction books. I try to stay well-rounded. I also like fantasy books. I just read a book by an author, and this book is coming out on February 7th. It's called Braided Dimensions by Marie Judson. She's another Indies United publishing author like me, and it's a wonderful time travel fantasy. Love it.
Well, I'm gonna have to contact Marie and have her on.
You should. Yes, you
It
should.
tend to be a little long for me, even for audio. But my next question to you, of course, was like, I heard published. So are you indie published or traditional published?
So when people hear the phrase indie published, they assume that means self-published. I'm not self-published, but I don't have a big five traditional publisher either. I didn't reach my publisher with an agent, and I don't get an advance, but my publisher they're not even really a small publisher anymore. Indies United Publishing is kind of a mid-sized publisher, and I couldn't be happier with them. I've just published my 5th book with them called Terror Bay last November. I have another one coming out in June. And so I guess they'd be called an independent publisher, and they're wonderful. They do a lot of marketing, and they've done a great job with my books. I'm really happy with them.
I love Indie United because the first time I've ever chose a publisher any way, shape, or form, I chose Indie United. So it was different and new, and I loved it. I loved it when Lisa started it. I love
Mm-hmm.
what she's done with it. It's amazing. Okay, we're
Mm-hmm.
not here to talk about Lisa though, right? Because I'm about to be like, and then Lisa did, and Lisa said. In case you're wondering who this Lisa person is that is not here, because I'm talking to Lisa Towles, but the other Lisa is Lisa Orban with Indie United. Moving on, onward and upward, I guess that's what they say. onward and upward to how do you find your ideas? And then do you pants are you a pantser or a plotter? I feel like you're a plotter.
Mm. Interesting that you feel like I'm a plotter. I think that's good. I'm absolutely halfway between plotter and pantser. I used to write elaborate outlines when I first started writing a long time ago. And I found that writing an elaborate, highly detailed, like line by chapter outline, I had no juice left to write the actual book. So then I wrote some novels without any outline at all, and now I find that I'm kind of in between. I do map out kind of a few chapters at a time, and I might know exactly how I want to end the book. That might just kind of come to me, but I might not know how I'm going to get there. So I do plot out kind of like, like chunks of the book at a time, but like not like whole long stretches, because I found it was actually Stephen King's book called On Writing. That was the first time that I felt like I had permission to write without an outline. And he wrote about in that book how having an outline kind of locks you in and makes it impossible for organic ideas to kind of make their way up into your consciousness. And so that's what made me start writing without outlines. And now I'm kind of a hybrid. So I do kind of have an outline, and I usually know where I'm going to go for at least the next chunk of the novel. And in terms of how I get my ideas, I wish I could tell you. I mean, like every other author, it kind of comes at different times. Like right now, I'm working with my editor on the book that's coming out on June 20th. It's called Codex. And I'm not supposed to be writing anything. I'm supposed to be like having a rest because I just finished writing a standalone thriller, just a not very good first draft. The first draft isn't supposed to be good. I finished that first draft, and this is supposed to be a rest period. Well, it doesn't always happen that way, right? So something else has been kind of bubbling up to the surface, and I've just been taking notes. I haven't actually put fingers to keyboard, and I haven't started writing it yet. But in terms of where ideas come from, you never know. So this new idea for a new book that I haven't started writing yet. I was in the gym yesterday, and I was on the treadmill, and they have big TVs in the gym, and I was watching the show Dateline about something that happened in Mississippi. Just this tragic story of this woman who died, and they were trying to find her killer. And something about that led me to a question. I can't tell you what the question is, but something in Dateline led me to a question, and I knew that that has something to do with whatever new thing I'm going to write. How did I know that? You just know, right? You're an author. You just know. I was like, this is important. Let me add that. So I have this email that I've been forwarding to myself over and over and over again now, like with a whole bunch of notes on it, and that's how I keep track of it until I start it. But where those ideas come from, I don't know. I don't know. They all come from someplace different. And I think in some sense we were talking about an art and a science, left brain and right brain. I think you can think about and cultivate and birth ideas, but I also think that being a creative person means that you have some sense of trust and faith and surrender, that ideas are going to come to you and you follow them and see where they want you to take them.
What three pieces of advice would you give anyone out here who's like, yeah, mystery is my genre, it's my jam. Let's go ahead and start writing. What would you like tell yourself? The three pieces of advice.
If it's someone who hasn't written a book before, what I like to tell novice writers is to try not to think too much about where your book is going to end up in terms of a shelf in a bookstore. Try not to think too much about marketing and the business of writing and capturing the synopsis and all of like the saleable parts of the commodity that you're producing. Instead, think about what's in here that wants to come out. Put your fingers on the keyboard and let that story emerge from you. Again, it's that sense of kind of trust and faith and opening to the story inside that wants to be told. I think that would have been important for me to think about back then, and I wasn't really thinking about that back then. I think another piece of advice would be invest in an editor, whether you're getting traditionally published looking for an agent, or if you're going to publish yourself, your investment in an editor before you start sending queries to agents and publishers is the best money you're gonna invest in your writing career. Find a really good editor, and then create the cleanest copy you can that gets put on the shelves for readers.
That's gorgeous, yo. This is good advice because when you start thinking about your future, you're like, oh, the pressure and the stress and the stress and the pressure, and then you stop writing, which is the point of you sitting in the chair.
Well, I think there's another piece of advice too that I wish I could go back in time and tell myself 20 years ago, or even less than that. Try to enjoy the journey. I mean, like there's so much, like you just said, we're thinking about the future, we're not thinking about the now. Try to enjoy the experience of having the talent to bring a story to life. I mean, that takes talent, it takes vision, it takes time, it takes energy, but it really does take a lot, and try to enjoy it along the way.
Thank you. Okay. I'm partial to that last piece of advice because I'm still thinking about what's going to happen in the future. And then I look back and I go, oh, I wish I had just sat down and been like, this is a moment. Oh my God.
Right,
No, it's
right.
like, I need to get to the next moment. No, you don't. No, you don't. So, what's coming up next for you and where can we find and buy your books?
You can find all my books on Amazon, also on Barnes and Noble. It's you can find audiobooks for the audiobook versions of some of my books on Audible. What's coming up for me, the next book that's coming out is called Codex. It's a standalone thriller, although there might be a sequel to it. I still haven't decided that yet. Actually, I'm not going to decide. I mean, it's going to decide. The book will tell me if there's another one coming. So I left it kind of open at the end, and I like doing that. Um, and that's coming out on June 20th with Indies United Publishing. It'll be published in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and maybe down the road there'll be an audiobook. And then another book will be coming out in November or December. I don't yet know what that is. So another thriller, but we'll see.
Thank you so much for being here with us today, Lisa. I've had
Thank
so much fun. I've
thank
learned so
you.
much. It makes me want to write.
Oh, you already do right. And thank you, Wilnona, for everything that you and Jade do to support authors like me. Thank you.
So y'all, I'm gonna wrap it up for us over here. I'm Winona. I'm one of the anti-thought ladies. I think I probably forgot to say that. I just told you where to go for the website, and you have no idea why I named it that. Go figure, because I'm one of the anti-thought ladies. And when you go to our page at www.antithoughtLadiesDown.com, down to the bottom of the page, you can see the charities that we proudly support. We ask that you take a moment out and support them as well. That does not have to mean money. It can mean wisdom. It could mean volunteer. Everyone needs hands on deck at all times in a charity organization. And we thank you in advance for doing that. Remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona and the Missing Jade. Oh yeah, thanks for listening.